Welcome back to English Recaps. Today going to explain thriller action titled Called The Signal 2014. Watch out and take care. The film starts with a scene at a corner store. A person named Nick setting to the side his braces assists a kid with hauling a loved toy out of a gaming machine. After a lengthy drive, the gathering of folks stops at an inn. They receive a message from a programmer named Migrant, who continually hacks into working frameworks. The college blames the folks for hacking into the servers and pins the obligation on the understudies. Nick and Jonah secure themselves in the restroom to sort out the programmer's whereabouts. Right now, Wanderer hacks into the PC camera and sends an image of the folks. This suggests the way that all the innovation is under the programmer's reconnaissance. The folks go through the night in the washroom recording the codes and figure out Traveler's whereabouts. It turns out he resides in Nevada, where they will pass through. Coming back, their hunt is intruded on by a young lady named Haley, encouraging them to hit the sack. The following day, the folks hit the road again, wanting to bring Haley back home to California. However, on the manner in which they get one more picture from Migrant, it shows the girl's red car, and it greatly alarms the company. The hacker keeps tracking the students' G allocations and stalks the guys. The guys stop at the gas station again and negotiate a route. They plan to track Nomad down. Jonah starts writing codes to find out more information about the hacker. In the meantime, Nick goes to the gas station to buy coffee. Haley asks Jonah about Nick's feelings for the girl and his opinion on moving to California. The guy doesn't say anything and doesn't want to broach the subject of his friend's relationship. The conversation is interrupted by Nick falling down near a gas station. The guys help him grab crutches and get up. Jonah leaves the couple alone and is about to move the car. Haley and her boyfriend head out to get some new coffee. They decide to stop in Nevada right away, so they don't waste any time. Haley goes off to sink her quarry as the girl feels like the relationship is ending. Nick finds the girl and they strike up a conversation about continuing their love. The guy offers to take a pause in the relationship as he doesn't know what will happen to his legs next and doesn't want to become a burden on the girl. He realizes that he can't be a support and strong shoulder for Haley as his future is projected to be in a wheelchair. The girl cries and throws away their pendants. They get back in the car and continue on their way. The navigator leads the guys to an abandoned house when it is already dark. Outside, they realize that no one lives in the house. Haley is left in the car, but the guys decide to take a camera and look around the abandoned house. The windows are broken out, the doors are taped shut, and the whole house is filled with unnecessary junk. The guys find an open basement and decide to go downstairs. They find old server racks and lots of wires. Moments later, the guys hear Haley screaming and quickly run out to the car. The car stands with the lights on and the doors open, the radio working intermittently, but the main trouble is Haley's absence. The folks glance around and notice something peculiar lifting the young lady very high. They are encircled by the young lady's horrendous shouts, and subsequently cognizance is lost. Nick awakens in a wheelchair, being conveyed by something in a white spacesuit. Awareness starts to return a little, which frightens the person. IVs are put to his arms, yet further occasions deny him any attention to what's going on. A man in a blank area suit sits opposite him and turns on the recorder, starting to pose unusual inquiries about the signs. The specialist tells no data and overlooks counter inquiries. The man says that he is a delegate of a logical task, and as per their information, the organization of folks connected with an EBO, an extraterrestrial natural article Scratch, is moved to a splendid room where he sees a messed up coat on his wrist. The person attempts to look at his legs, yet they are enveloped by a sheath which he can't eliminate. The following day, Nick is gotten again to converse with a man in a void area suit. The person attempts to figure out some data about Haley, however all desires are disregarded. The man just commitments that his companions are well taken care of and help the examination. The meeting is directed under obviously false identifier. Where Nick is shown the camera film, it plainly shows the seat that Jonah later took, and with it a specific animal watching the folks from under the shrubs. The person understands that what was watching them was most certainly not a programmer. Unexpectedly, Nick hears Jonah's voice and finds himself an occasion. Their discussion is immediately trimmed short, and the kid winds up back in a room with a researcher in a blank area suit. He is being tried on his capacity to think and perceive varieties and shapes. Nick is furious on the grounds that he is being dealt with like a little kid and tells all the data to the man. He accomplishes a gathering with Haley, yet the young lady's graph is clear and she doesn't recapture awareness. All inquiries regarding her condition are overlooked by the researcher in the nights. The guys try to communicate through the vents and find out more information. They make an escape plan because they don't intend to stay here. For long, Jonah is in no mood to run away from the hospital, for he fears and believes they are infected by an alien creature. The conversation abruptly cuts off and Jonah only manages to tell his friend that he can't feel his hands at all during another experiment. In the laboratory, something happens and Nick witnesses the commotion. Large black stains appear on the wall from an unknown creature. He finds himself back in the room with the scientist in the white spacesuit and tries to find out about the situation. Of course, all of his questions are ignored and silenced. The man admits that all conversations through the vent with Jonah have been overheard, but he assures that the voice was just a hallucination of the guy's weak mind because Jonah was not found near the abandoned house. Nick manages to escape the ward and pick up Haley from the ICU. The guy straps the girl's bed to the wheelchair and tries to get out of the building quickly, but he fails. After a while, the guy regains consciousness in the ward with Haley. The girl also regains consciousness, but not for long at all. The staff of the science center approached Nick's bed and push him down. As he falls, the guy finally sees his legs out of the envelope, huge metal prostheses from his hip behind the glass above the guy. The scientists are watching and trying to calm him down as much as possible, because it was the legs that sparked the scientific interest. Nick doesn't listen to the scientists' explanations and tries to accept the situation. He tries to get up and rewind his legs with a sheet to go, and he succeeds. The guy doesn't respond to the scientists' instructions and commands because he felt the strength and movement in his own legs. He takes out the door and grabs Haley's bed, heading for the exit from the hospital. The man in the spacesuit tries to calm and stop the couple, warning that his body will be very difficult on the surface. He repeats about biological bodies and the Earth's dangers, but Nick ignores the scientists' advice. The couple escapes from the lab to Earth, finding themselves in the middle of the wilderness. The girl finally comes to her full senses but behaves strangely. Nick and Haley get to the highway and stop the first car. They ask to be driven to the nearest gas station. A silly situation ensues in the car. An elderly woman sits behind the wheel who keeps asking strange questions, making strange noises, and saying strange words to Nick that scare him. They quickly get there and stop at a gas station. The guy leaves Haley at the gas station for the trucks and tries to contact Jonah himself. He goes into the gas station bar to make a phone call, but instead of information, he learns there is no connection. At this point, he sees Haley climb into the truck and drive away from the parking lot. The guy tries with all his might to catch up with the truck, but the car pushes him over and hurries away. Nick sees a flood of solidarity in his legs as in the CPR second the person finds the truck, which Haley figured out how to steer, so they were heading down the correct path. The folks are cheerful. They choose energetically to escape the bizarre town and end the experience. They drive a few distance and the track severs. All they see next is a hard of hearing desert with a profound mountain ravine isolating them from it. The science community starts a quest for the couple, surveying surveillance cameras and welcoming the old lady who drove the young fellows to a service station for individual data. During a discussion with the researchers, plainly the lady is presumably a partner of the lab or has additionally recently been utilized as a natural article. She was continually faltering and halting partially through the discussion, and her nose was continually draining. Nick chooses to turn the vehicle around and drive in the other course, leaving them expecting to discover a way, yet they see the gulch again. The couple chooses to glance around and spot an unfilled house with a telephone stall. The association is out again. It is absolutely impossible to settle on a telephone decision. In the house, they find an immense guide with obscure landscape, which confounds them much. Additional night falls. Nick and Haley choose to go through the night in the house, and toward the beginning of the day they sort out the guide and escape town. They begin hearing strides and conceal in the furthest corners of the room. The person equipped with void dishes attempts to find who got into the unwanted house. That individual ends up being their companion, Jonah. The person can't comprehend that he at last met his companions, and after recapturing cognizance starts to talk in the mediating time. He had totally forgotten about the thing was occurring and didn't really accept that he would meet genuine individuals. Jonah says that they've become guinea pigs in a major logical examination, and it's far-fetched they'll have the option to escape the city. The person admits that he has been feeling extremely terrible of late and thinks something significant has been taken from him. During the entire discussion, Jonah doesn't remove his spacesuit, he just removes his protective cap. Toward the finish of the discussion, the person cries and concedes that rather than his hands, the researchers put metal prostheses, very much like Nick's legs, promptly in the first part of the day. The folks look at the guide and attempt to find an exit from the city. They travel a brief distance after which they are impeded by an entire group of individuals in spacesuits. Scratch and Haley hide toward the side of the truck, and Jonah attempts to pass as a representative in a white spacesuit. The arrangement doesn't work, and the person's expectations rapidly disseminate. Jonah attempts to get past the hindered street, yet is fruitless. A substantial post shows up under the truck, through which it is difficult to drive as it fixes the wheels. The folks escape the truck and stow away from the officials. Jonah thinks about an arrangement and requests that they take off at his order. Jonah's prosthetic strength permits him to destroy the pole and bring down the army of employees. This gives a little time for the pair to escape. Haley and Nick drive off down the highway along the town, but they are blocked again by the staff team. This time the team is heavily fortified, and the truck can't get over the obstacles and flips over. Haley hits the wall of the truck hard. The girl is taken to the emergency room. Nick stands in front of his supervisor, who supervised him while he was in the lab. The scientist explains to the guy what's going on and where they ended up. Nick has become the best test subject of the experiment, bringing together human will and alien technology. He notices a small badge on the scientist's spacesuit with the inscription Damon. When read backwards, the inscription gives the name of the hacker the guys were looking for. Nick begins to realize that the hacking of the systems was not created by hackers but by an alien intelligence which took the students to alien research. The guy gets very angry and doesn't accept what's happening as reality. He picks up a lot of speed with his alien prosthetics and runs down the track, hoping to find a portal out of the city at great speed. He breaks through the alien dome and finds himself in a huge dark room. Nick sees a room filled with a variety of servers, but can't find his way back to reality. He turns around and realizes that the only way out is to go back to the laboratory, to the man in the white space suit. The scientist in turn removes his helmet and demonstrates the alien head invention, where only a human face and many wires are present.